Thank you, Bader, for joining us. This is
my
our
pleasure.
second ever TRR exclusive interview. Could you just take a moment to talk a little bit about your platform?
Sure. Bader Qarmout, and I'm running for the United States Senate to represent the good people of New Jersey and to protect and defend our Constitution. I think it's important that we don't lose sight of that. I decided to run for U.S. Senate because I'm seeing so many attacks on America from within and from outside. The three pillars of my campaign are faith, family, country, and they're all under attack. And I want to make sure that I give my children the country that my parents gave me. And that's what's motivated me to run for U.S. Senate and to defeat Bob Menendez.
All right, let's start with these questions.
Great.
So, Bob Menendez is up for re-election, and our Republican governor here in New Jersey has endorsed State Senator Joseph Krilos to face him in November.
Right.
Why would you say that his choice is perhaps wrong, or he won't be able to defeat Menendez?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Governor Christie and many of the decisions he has made. I just believe his personal relationship with Joe Kyrillos is getting in the way of making the best decision for New Jersey. New Jersey right now is hungry for a candidate with business experience and a candidate that is outside of the box, outside of the career politician box. New Jersey, as the rest of the nation, is looking for someone who can bring fresh ideas to the table. Joe Kyrillos, as a nice man as he is, does not bring anything new to the table. He's been in politics in Trenton for 25 years. And having been there 25 years would also mean he's a part of New Jersey's problem. And the same guy cannot possibly be a part of Washington's solution. So we need new people in Trenton and in Washington to bring new ideas, and right now we're in a financial crisis, so we need people who have business experience and who can bring that business experience to the table, someone who can create jobs.
All right, so the media paints a story as Joe Kyrillos as the establishment candidate, and you style yourself as the anti-establishment candidate. Where do you stand on like the issues of the anti-establishment issues, like the Federal Reserve, military adventurism, Keynesian economics?
Sure, that's quite a bit right there, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
Kyrillos is definitely the establishment candidate. I am not. As I said earlier, I have not spent my whole life in politics. He has, and having done so, he has to also take responsibility for the mistakes and the problems with the state of New Jersey. You see, as we look around the country, we see that the establishment is trying to jam candidates down our throats. They're doing that nationally, and they're successful. Here in New Jersey, we want to stand up to that. We want to be able to choose our own candidate and not be told who to vote for, not be told this is the person who's going to be your representative. We don't want exclusion of other good candidates just so the governor's friend of 25 years, good friend, longtime family friend, could move forward. This isn't about personal. This is about business of the state and the business of the people. So that's why I believe it is healthiest for the state of New Jersey to allow a primary to be a primary, to allow the best candidate to move forward. And whatever the people choose, that should be the people's choice to take on Menendez. And ultimately, our goal is to defeat Senator Menendez. And we cannot do it with a weak candidate. We must put forward our strongest candidate in order to defeat Menendez. And I do not believe Senator Kyrillos could defeat Menendez.
Do you support an audit of the Federal Reserve?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think, some people talk about abolishing the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
I believe we need to go one step at a time.
Yeah.
First, let's audit the Fed. And by auditing it, then you have a better understanding as to what's going on. So, no, I absolutely would audit the Fed.
Okay, and like our foreign policy right now, people are saying we're trying to be everywhere at once.
Yeah.
And it's kind of spreading our military very thin, and the defense budget is one thing that I don't know. What's your platform on our current foreign policy?
I believe if we are to in any way cut any military spending, the decisions need to be done by the generals.
Yeah.
I support when the general wants to reduce and bring home troops, I would support that. And if the generals want any form of increase in military personnel in order to get the job done, I would support that. See, these generals, they're in the field, and we owe them a great deal. And not only the generals, but obviously all the men and women below them. I would never support any cutting of pay or benefits to our soldiers. And that's important. If a politician wants to cut the pay and benefits of a soldier, they should cut their own first. So it's very important that we end up with the best military by having a military that is best equipped, best trained, and without a doubt, most appreciated. And we need to do that. So not only do when we send our troops overseas, we must do so in a way that promotes American sovereignty and protects American interests. And in the same time, we also need to focus on our own borders. We have a porous border with Mexico. We have a sitting senator in Trenton in the person of Senator Carrillos who's allowing sanctuary cities in freehold. I'm proposing that we need to reform immigration in such a way that we take control of our borders first. We need to secure our borders to make sure that we know who's coming in. We need to turn some of our cities and go through for criminal illegal aliens and deport them. We need to have power and control over our own territories, our own sovereignty. And Senator Carrillos, by turning a blind eye to sanctuary cities, in essence, he's supporting amnesty. And that is unacceptable. I would never support amnesty, and I would never support sanctuary cities, and we need to make sure our elected officials enforce the current laws, because we have good laws. We just have bad politicians, and that's got to change.
There's over 900 U.S. military bases in over 130 foreign countries.
Yes.
In the old ones in Korea and Japan and Germany. Do those still need to be maintained?
Well, General Davis of the Marine Corps has put forward an idea, I believe it's called a lily pad project, where he talks about downsizing, if not almost zeroing down several military bases, because our military can move quite readily. I mean, most of our military bases are World War II era, where it was a little different to maneuver and set up theaters in different parts of the world. But I believe...
You support his plan?
I support the idea of moving forward, but whatever plan we do, it must come from the military, not from the politicians, because I would not trust those bureaucrats in Washington to walk my dog, nonetheless be responsible for our military and the lives of our soldiers and their families at home.
What about TARP and the bailouts? Would you have voted for them?
I would not have. I am a free market individual. I believe in the classical economic theory. I believe rather than government throwing money towards a situation because the people don't have, economic tough times, are unable to purchase, they're throwing money towards a stimulus in order to stimulate the economy. That's top down, doesn't work, never worked, it will not work. The way to make the economy flourish is to create jobs. How do we create jobs? Well, we find what's obstructing job creation. I have a 6-step plan for job creation. Very simple. Step 1 is to repeal the Menendez-Obamacare. Yeah, it's Menendez-Obamacare because Menendez voted for it. Repeal it and replace it with the ability of people to purchase health care across state lines. That would lower the price and improve the quality. Like anything else, competition works. The second thing we need to do is lower taxes. Reagan proved this point. When you lower the corporate tax rate, right now we're the highest in the world at 35%. We need to lower that down to maybe 15 or so percent. That will fuel the economy immensely. There's also $2 trillion of American companies' profit sitting overseas. They don't want to bring it back to the United States because they don't want to pay that punitive 35% on money they did not earn in the United States. So since we're not making any profit off that money sitting overseas, let them bring it in tax-free. Perhaps we can put a condition where they would pay, a 5% towards new hires or capital improvements. But $2 trillion in America is a whole lot better than $2 trillion elsewhere. We also need to lower the cost of energy, and that in itself is a job creator. We need to issue more permits for drilling here in the U.S. on private lands and public lands. And we need to look at natural gas. We need to become energy independent. Improve education, without a doubt. I mean, we are 21 and 25 in math and reading, and we're 35 in science. America should never be 35 in anything. We need to address all these issues. We need to also make sure we balance the budget. We need a balanced budget. But first, someone has to tell Harry Reid and the man that walks behind them carrying his books Bob Menendez, that we need a budget. We haven't
Yeah.
had one in 1,100 days. We need a budget. So I get that my 6-point plan will work to create jobs in the United States and to reinstill confidence so we can regain our AAA rating.
No, you brought up the balancing the budget,
Yes,
the
sir.
threat of the national debt. How close to a financial collapse do you believe we are? And would you pledge to not vote against unbalanced budget?
I truly
To vote-
believe
yeah.
it is absolutely suicidal to keep increasing our spending and not balancing. I don't know if you're familiar with, it's called the Mack Penny Plan. Florida Congressman Mack
Yeah.
put forward the Mack Penny Plan, where in 6 years we would have a balanced budget. That's realistic. That's
Yeah.
doable. Why aren't we doing these things? So I encourage your viewers to go and look up the Mack, M-A-C-K, Penny Plan. It's doable. I would support such a plan, and it's easy to make to reduce our spending in a way when we start looking at all the waste that is in the system. We have an enormous amount of waste in our entitlement programs. For example, the food stamp program. This administration wants to tell us what to eat and what not to eat with our own money, but yet our food stamp program, you can purchase a Haagen-Dazs ice cream, bag of chips, a candy bar, and a $5 can Red Bull on food stamps, on government money. So we need to go through all the waste and come up with a system that reduces the waste, gives the people who deserve benefits, the elderly, the handicapped, our veterans. We need to take care of these hardworking, people who have either worked in the past or cannot anymore, but we need to cut out the waste.
Do you support a balanced budget amendment?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I also would support term limits.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. I believe we need to recycle Washington.
Would you vote against the unbalanced budget?
I would, unless I see something where, it's part of a plan, such as the Mack Penny plan, where we're looking at a plan in X number of years, we would become balanced.
So here in New Jersey, we have the the Senate primary.
Yes.
Nationally, we have the presidential primary.
Yes.
Do you believe that this primary is like the presidential primary, as the media paints? There's an establishment candidate and anti-establishment candidates. Would you endorse Mitt Romney? And also, real quick, who would you support as a vice president? Who would you trust in that office as well?
I'm going to answer your last question first.
Okay.
And I truly believe whomever ends up winning the primary, and right now, obviously, we all believe that it is Mitt Romney.
Yeah, the presumptive nominee. Yeah.
Whomever it ends up with, Mitt Romney or anyone else, I believe the biggest mistake they would make is not to ask Colonel Allen West to be their VP. Allen West, I think, would be a phenomenal vice president.
So you would endorse him for vice president?
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Republican.
Yeah.
And as a Republican, I truly believe we're not the party of entitlements. And whomever it is needs to earn it, whether president or vice president or senator needs to earn it. That's why I've been traveling the state, meeting good people of all counties, whether it's from Salem County all the way up to High Point, all the way down to Cape May and everything in between. The good people of Ocean and Monmouth County have been very hospitable. Why? Because I listen. I want to hear what their concerns are, what their views are, and they repeatedly have been telling me, especially in Monmouth County, they're very troubled by the situation of high crime in Freehold, the turning of a blind eye towards illegal immigration into the United States, towards also unemployment in New Jersey. We need to create jobs here.
Uh-huh. And what do you consider yourself as sustainable? And how do you view Agenda 21? Do you think it's a violation of our private property rights? Would you oppose it?
Absolutely oppose it. I think I'm the only, I'm not sure, I've been told that Carrillos has not signed the RNC anti-Agenda 21, but I have. I have signed the RNC's anti-Agenda 21 declaration that I will not in any way support the taking away of American sovereignty. If any viewers are not familiar, please Google and look up, even on YouTube, Agenda 21. It is the United Nations trying to impede on American laws, trying to impede on taking away our sovereignty by implementing anti-gun ban treaties in the U.S., implementing environmental regulations, trying to take away personal properties and limit properties of individuals. That's un-American.
Yeah.
And we've got to stand up to defend the Constitution. See, as a non-establishment candidate, I have been, marginalized by the powers of the establishment and the machine of that establishment. So I have not gotten the media and the attention that I think would have been wonderful to vet all candidates. And that's what we need. I've been challenging Senator Carrillos to a debate repeatedly. I have attended several where he was a no-show. If he cannot debate me, if Carrillos cannot debate Bader, how is he going to debate Menendez? That's important. Senator Carrillos, I'll challenge you one more time. We still got 3 weeks. Come to a debate. My office has been calling and been setting this up repeatedly. Come to a debate. Let's vet everyone and let the people choose. And may the best candidate rise to the top. And may that best candidate, we all come together at the end, and together we will defeat Menendez.
Okay, and how would you say your candidacy pertains to small town America here in New Jersey?
Sure.
And
Sure. I love New Jersey. I've been in New Jersey 30-some years. And the beauty of New Jersey is those little small towns. The little parks where you can take your kids and play in. And, Main Street, the small shops that are unique to that area. Well, what we need, and my candidacy, what will help with this is to bring jobs back, lower taxes, in order for these main streets to flourish again. To have these boutiques, the specialty shops, the cookie stores, the little theaters in downtowns as opposed to the big boxes, to flourish spring streets and main streets of small town America. And we do that by removing burdensome over-regulation that government puts in the way between small business and success. And often we find that when you get government out of the way, you've got success. You've got business flourishing. And by lowering the taxes, business flourishes. We just got to do one thing: get rid of big government and reduce taxes. And main streets in all over this great nation will flourish. Again, most importantly, we got to reinstill confidence in people. People look towards Washington, they look towards Trenton, they see in Obama, in Menendez, and in Carrillos, and they do not feel the confidence. We need to reinstill that confidence. And one way to do that is to balance our own house, balance our own budget.
thank you, Bader.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Don't forget, June 5th is the primary. And as I tell everybody, remember, the Q is for you. Thank you.